Stop scrolling, because one word just split the internet in two. Click. Cristiano Ronaldo used it. Fans ran with it, and now the most celebrated proposal of the year is also the most debated. Was it romance or red flag? Tonight on Scandal News, we unpack the timeline, the emotions, the ring, the backlash, and the truth most people are afraid to say out loud. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why one sentence from a Netflix confessional has everyone furious, thrilled, or both at the same time. Cristiano Ronaldo and Georgina Rodriguez are engaged. Yes, officially, after years of living as a family, after years of hearing him call her his wife, after years of the world assuming the paperwork was already done, they finally posted the moment. A hand, a diamond that eats the frame, a caption from Georgina that reads, "Yes, I do, in this and in all my lives." The internet lit up like a stadium at kickoff. Congratulations poured in, so did questions. Wait, this is only happening now? Let's rewind. Their story did not begin in a private villa or a yacht in Monaco. It started in a luxury store in Madrid. He was the most famous footballer on earth. She was a part-time model working as a shop assistant. They met, they talked, and what looked like a casual celebrity encounter turned into a partnership that survived time, pressure, and a microscope the size of the planet. This wasn't a whirlwind wedding after a week romance. This was a slow build, a decade of choosing each other again and again. Families don't form by accident. They build through ordinary days and impossible days. In 2017, they welcomed their daughter Alana. In 2022, Georgina gave birth to their daughter Bella. In that same moment, heartbreak arrived. Bella's twin brother, Angel, died during childbirth. Grief like that does not gently exit a home. It stays. It changes tempo. It rearranges priorities. If you've lived it, you know. Through it, they stayed together, side by side. They also parent a wider, blended family. Georgina helps raise Ronaldo's 3 other children, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., and the twins often referred to as Ava Maria and Matteo. Daily life, school, travel, training, photo shoots, recovery, repeat. If you saw them from the outside, you could be forgiven for thinking the vows already happened. So when the engagement post went live, a wave of people said, "Finally." Another wave said, "But weren't they married? Why the confusion?" Because Ronaldo himself has, at times, called Georgina his wife, not casually, not as a throwaway line. He has posted tributes that read like vows. He praised her for standing with him in silence and in storm. He described her as his strength when he was shattered. He used language that many reserve for a ceremony. Fans heard the poetry and assumed the paperwork. Understandable. Common. And yet, paperwork is different from poetry. Then came the gasoline on the fire, a resurfaced clip from the Netflix series I Am Georgina. In it, Georgina shares how friends and family tease her with, "When is the wedding?" She says it's not up to her, and Ronaldo, in a separate confessional, explains how he sees it. He talks about waiting for that click, that moment when everything lines up. He says it could be a year, 6 months, a month. He says he's 1000% sure it will happen. To some, that sounded sweet. To others, that sounded like a delay dressed as destiny. The word click became the headline. The internet did what the internet does. It chose sides. Let's be honest about why this one word detonated. Click is vague. Click is elastic. If you've ever waited for someone to choose you, click sounds like a stall. If you've ever needed the stars to align before a big decision, click sounds like wisdom. 2 people, same word, 2 completely different histories reacting to it. That's why the comment blew up. It pressed on a bruise many people carry. On one side, the skeptics. They look at the timeline and shake their heads. Nearly a decade together, 2 children together, a blended family under one roof. If that isn't a click, what is? They argue that if a person truly knows, they don't need a calendar full of maybes. They hear it could be in a year or a month and translate it as "stop asking me." They point to the history of couples where the proposal never came. They warn viewers, especially women, not to accept indefinite timelines wrapped in pretty words. Don't wait for a click, they say. If he wants to, he will. Harsh, maybe, but that is the editorial running across their feeds. On the other side, the defenders. They remind us that public relationships operate on a different clock. Privacy matters, security matters, children matter, careers that span continents matter. They argue that click can mean alignment, not indecision, the right moment, the right mental space, the right season after mourning a child. They say this is what grown love looks like. Measured, intentional, and stubbornly private until it isn't. To them, the engagement isn't late, it's layered. They see the size of the ring and the softness of the caption and say, that's commitment, full stop. And speaking of the ring, let's address the glittering elephant in the room. It isn't subtle. It wasn't meant to be. It's a center oval diamond, enormous to the naked eye. 2 oval side stones sit beside it. The setting appears to be platinum with double claw prongs hugging the center stone. A gemologist estimate put that main diamond somewhere between 10 and 15 carats, with the side stones around 2 to 3 carats each. Depending on color, clarity, and cut, you're looking at several million. Yes, several million. For a rock that looks like it requires its own passport. And right here, debate number 2 explodes. Some call it jaw-dropping, others call it gaudy. Some say it's art, others say it's an eyesore that stays in a safe except for red carpets and anniversaries. Both groups are loud, both groups are sure, both groups are, frankly, predictable. Why do rings do this to us? Because rings live at the intersection of emotion and economics. They are symbols you can measure with a loop. They're love you can peg to carats. That makes people wild. Some measure romance by restraint. Others measure it by spectacle. There's a reason proposals trend. It's not just the yes. It's the size, it's the sparkle, it's the fantasy. In celebrity culture, spectacle speaks a language all its own. This ring doesn't whisper. It announces. Now, let's zoom out and get uncomfortable in a productive way. People aren't just debating Ronaldo and Georgina, they're debating themselves. They're processing their own timelines. They're replaying their own waiting rooms. The woman who stayed 5 years and never got a proposal hears click and feels a sting. The man who lost a parent and needed time to recenter hears click and nods. The person who believes in private milestones hears the Netflix soundbite and thinks, you don't know their house. The person who believes the ceremony is. The anchor says, then drop the anchor. That's the subtext of this conversation. That's the heat, not just the light. Here's another layer you won't see in a tweet. Grief distorts time. The loss of a child can make an hour feel like a year, and a year feel like a month. The goal becomes survival, not optics. Some couples accelerate after loss, others decelerate. They protect what's left. They move slower. They test every new step for stability. None of us get to legislate that pace from the outside. You can have an opinion. You can't have jurisdiction. There's also the reality of the machine around a name like Cristiano Ronaldo. He isn't just a person. He's an institution. Clubs, sponsors, image rights, security teams, global schedules that look like jigsaw puzzles with missing pieces. A wedding in that ecosystem isn't just vows. It's logistics. It's negotiations. It's choosing whether your most personal day becomes the most photographed day of the year or the least. Will it be a massive event with drones in the sky and NDAs on the ground, or a quiet ceremony with photos that surface later, curated and controlled? Either way, it will be intentional. Either way, it will be debated. Let's come back to the start, to the language that confused people for years. Ronaldo calling Georgina his wife. In long-term relationships, especially with shared children, that word can be affectionate shorthand. It can be how two people define their bond when the legal piece hasn't happened yet. For fans, though, wife reads as official. When the public hears wife, they expect a date, address, a document. No date. Confusion grows, then frustration, then narratives fill the silence. Why not? Is he unsure? Is he waiting for something better? That's how parasocial relationships work. We think we're owed clarity. We're not. But in the absence of clarity, speculation thrives. So what do we do with click? We translate it into something practical. Think of it as alignment across multiple fronts. emotional readiness, family readiness, calendar readiness. In a long relationship, there isn't one click. There are many. The click of choosing each other in the first place, the click of moving in, the click of parenting together at 3 a.m., the click of sitting beside each other in a hospital room and holding on, and yes, sometimes the click of saying, "Now, let's make it legal." If that's what he meant, the word was clumsy but honest. If he meant "I don't know," the engagement renders that moot. Either way, the proposal happened. The story turned a page. Here's what we know with certainty. They are engaged. They announced it publicly. The ring is colossal and costs a fortune. The caption was romantic. Fans are split over an old comment. That split tells us as much about our own values as it does about theirs. Here's what we don't know: the date, the guest list, the venue, whether the ceremony will be intimate or imperial, whether Netflix cameras will roll or be told to wait outside. And that's fine. Not every detail is content. Some things are allowed to be private, even when the people involved feel public, but we can still analyze the discourse because the discourse has consequences. When a star uses soft commitment language for years and then proposes, it shapes expectations for millions watching. Some viewers will use this story to defend waiting. Some will use it to demand clarity sooner. Both can be valid. Both can be abused. If you're watching this and you're in a relationship, here's the only general advice I'll risk. Communicate your timeline, not the internet's timeline, yours. If the person you love is on the same page, beautiful. If not, clarity saves time, and time is the one currency you can't refund. Now let's talk optics versus intimacy. A giant ring doesn't make a marriage work. Neither does a tiny ring. A quick proposal doesn't guarantee longevity. A slow proposal doesn't guarantee wisdom. These are signals, not destinies. What counts is the day after the wedding, and the day after that, and the 1,000 small choices that look boring online but build a life offline. Attention is easy. Consistency is hard. That's why the world obsesses over proposals and often skips the part where people do the dishes. Still, proposals matter. Symbols matter. Rituals matter. They're the punctuation marks of a life. This one had a very large exclamation point attached to it, shaped like an oval. People will argue whether the exclamation point is tasteful. People will argue whether the sentence should have ended years ago. What no one can argue is the scale. When they say yes, the world stops to ask why now. That is the price and the privilege of being who they are. Where does the story go from here? Watch for 3 things. First, how present the ring is in future posts. If it shows up regularly, it's a character. If it vanishes, it's a vault guest star. Second, how they frame the wedding. A surprise drop with a single photo, a magazine exclusive with a curated spread, a short controlled video with voiceover and violins. Third, whether new episodes or specials address the engagement directly. If they do, the Netflix clip that started the debate may get its sequel. If they don't, the mystery remains part of the brand. For the people still stuck on the word click, let me translate it one last time. Sometimes click isn't lightning, it's alignment. Sometimes click isn't a light bulb, it's a dimmer switch sliding to the right place. You can dislike the word, you can prefer different language, but language is messy. Lives are messier. What looks like delay to a stranger can be care to the people inside the house. If you're still with me, you probably care about more than celebrity gossip. You care about what these stories say about us. So here's the human takeaway. Love is 1,000 small yeses, with a few big ones that make the highlight reel. This was a big yes. It arrived after years of small ones. It arrived after loss. It arrived in public. It will be remembered, screenshotted, debated, memed, and archived. And after the noise fades, 2 people will keep doing what they were already doing. Parenting, working, showing up. That is the part no trending topic can fake. If you enjoyed this breakdown, tap like so the algorithm knows you're wide awake. Hit subscribe to Scandal News for deep dives that go beyond the headline and into the heartbeat. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this saga or the next scandal that tries to rewrite the rules. Now tell me in the comments, did the click make you roll your eyes or did it make sense? Do you see the ring as romance or overkill? Do you buy the patience Or do you think it was procrastination in a tuxedo? One more thought before we go. We often talk about proposals like they end a story. They don't. They begin a new one. The people inside that new story will write it day by day, not post by post. Whatever you think about the timeline, remember the simplest truth. Every couple has a private calendar. The rest of us only see the public holidays. I'm your host, this is Scandal News, and that's the breakdown. Stay sharp, stay kind, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.